Welcome back to another edition of Disability Insurance Law TV. My name is Gregory Dell. I'm an attorney with attorneys Dell and Schaefer, and I'm joined today by attorney Cesar Gavidia. Our firm is a law firm of attorneys Dell and Schaefer, and each week we create an episode of Disability Insurance Law TV to educate the public about the way in which long-term disability insurance companies handle disability claims. Today we're going to discuss the Sun Life Financial Company, which is a long-term disability insurance carrier that was founded in 1865. In anticipation of today's video, we researched some cases so that we can give you some examples of how the courts have looked at cases that have been denied by Sun Life. And I think Cesar prepared some cases today they'd like to discuss.
I did. Greg, there was a case out of California where a federal judge essentially remanded the case back down to the insurance company to award benefits. And what had happened was this particular insured was a rehabilitation scheduler with a California hospital. She was involved in a pretty serious car accident, and she injured her spine. Well, as most people, she tried to get back to work. She goes back to work. She has a serious fall at work where she fell out of a chair and re-injures her spine, exacerbates her injuries. She files a disability claim with Sun Life. Sun Life sends it to a medical consultant to review her medical records and her file. The medical consultant says, well, you know, these cases, these spinal injury cases, are generally self-limiting. These people are typically back to work and they're fine within 3 months. Well, Sun Life took this and went back and said, well, we're denying your benefits because you didn't satisfy the elimination period. You should have been back to work within 3 months. She sues. The federal court finds that that was arbitrary, that was capricious. These are just educated guesses by this medical consultant, and you need medical observations to base your opinions on.
Was the medical consultant their own medical consultant or some outside?
Yeah, it was an outside medical consultant, somebody they hired to do this review.
And so when the court made their finding, they reversed the denial from Sun Life?
They reversed the denial. They awarded her benefits, essentially saying, Sun Life, you have to pay her benefits, and up to a certain point. And then after that point, they told Sun Life to get together with the insured and try to find some middle ground to continue those benefits.
All right. I want to tell you and tell our viewers obviously a little bit about Sun Life, because in anticipation of today I did some research on Sun Life so that I could explain the size of this company. Sun Life was founded in 1865. They're a company from Montreal and they're headquartered in Toronto, Canada. They've been around for over 145 years. They're an extremely large company, the 5th largest group life insurance carrier in the world. They have over $433 billion of assets that they manage. They currently have 20 million customers in over 22 countries, and actually only 42% of their business is in the United States. Last year, they had $27.5 billion in revenues, and they did profit of $2.4 billion. So they are a giant company, and they can do whatever they got to do to handle a claim, and they will do whatever they have to do to handle a claim. Interesting, you may have heard of the company Genworth Financial Group.
Right.
In 2007, they purchased that company, so now they're handling and managing all the claims for Genworth, and we've had many people that have had those policies. But I think there was another case that you also came across that was a denial by Sun Life that you want to discuss as well.
Right. In this case is out of Michigan. The insured was a director of operations for a retail jeweler, and she was also involved in a serious car accident. She injured her spine and had a close head injury, and as you know, those are serious brain injuries. She goes back to work. She tries to do her job. The employer ends up terminating her, saying that she couldn't do her job. She was unable to do her job, and it was very likely because of these disabling issues that she was having. She files her disability claim. Sun Life denies her disability claim, says she was not actively at work. She sues Sun Life in federal court.
And that was a requirement of the policy. She had to be actively at work.
You're right. She had to be actively at work, which sometimes means full-time work, 30 hours a week at least.
Right.
She sues in federal court, and she wins. Federal court tells Sun Life to review the case again. Sun Life reviews the case again and denies it again. She has to go back and sue Sun Life again. This time, the federal court found that Sun Life acted arbitrarily and capriciously in denying her benefits again, and Sun Life appeals it to the appellate court up there in the Sixth Circuit in Michigan. The appellate court had a real problem with the fact of that Sun Life hired these six file review people, 5 of which had regular contracts with Sun Life. So they reached out to their deep pocket of resources, people that they've probably used time and time again, that they're under regular contracts with, hired them to do a review of this file. And of course, these people say, well, there was nothing wrong with this lady, she should be able to do her job. Sun Life also tells them that she was terminated for cause, which was a complete misrepresentation from what the employer told them. The employer told Sun Life that she was not doing her job. That's hardly terminated for cause. And the federal court also had a problem with the fact that Sun Life completely ignored the award from Social Security disability.
So what happened at the end of the case?
At the end of the case, the federal court actually awarded benefits. They said, Sun Life, we're taking this out of your hands, we're awarding benefits to this insured. And you got to go back and administer this policy according to our ruling.
And so this woman had to fight them for years in order to get to that outcome?
This is a case that was going on since before 2007 and just recently, gets resolved in 2009.
So she went over 3 years out.
Right, because imagine going back and forth through appellate process, through federal courts, through their own administrative appellate process with Sun Life, which you have to do in ERISA cases.
Each week we can only talk about 2 or 3 cases, and obviously there's tons of cases out there that we could have chosen from, and in this limited period of time we only talk about a few. But there was a pattern that you talked about with the claim reviews, by the people that Sun Life has relationships with, these medical reviewers. And I went and did some further research on the company, and I came across some marketing material that Sun Life uses to get companies to buy these policies, which they can then, offer as benefits to their employees. And I want to show you this image, which we'll put up on the screen, which I give you a copy of here, which is called the Teams of LTD, which is Long-Term Disability Benefit Analysts. And on this image, you can see this is all of the resources that Sun Life has available to them. And it starts on the left-hand side talking about all of their physician consultants, from physiatrist to internist to neurologist, orthopedic surgical, to all the way on the other side, extensive peer medical review, cardiac, neurology, psychiatry, orthopedic, and their vocational resources, and their RNs, and their independent medical exams, and their CPA consultants. They are loaded with resources of people. There is a method to every single way that they evaluate the claim. They are looking at every claim with a fine eye to basically say, how is this person ready to return to work? Not that they're not disabled, but the key words they use in the industry, Sun Life and basically everybody, is you are going to return to work.
Right.
And nothing is better than that, than in their own marketing material, where they say, and I'm quoting, we start managing claims the moment they come in our door. Now, Sun Life also sells short-term disability, which usually covers you the first 6 months of your claim. And in their marketing material, they say, the earliest intervention, our return to work efforts start while disabled employees are receiving short-term disability benefits, rather than the industry standard of waiting until the long-term disability phase. An employee's greatest chance of returning to work is when rehabilitation efforts are initiated early, when there is the greatest potential for change. So here you are, this person who's claiming to be sick and disabled and can't work, and Sun Life is already right out of the box saying, let's look at the alternatives to get you back to work, as opposed to saying, let's look at how disabled you are and how you have the inability to work. So now they're going out to their whole team of people that they have that we just discussed, and they're saying, how can we return this person to work? Not how can we look at this and say, is this person disabled? And so I think that people who have Sun Life policies or who are considering other employers, other long-term disability insurance companies, should be aware of how Sun Life in particular is looking at disability policies. And it's not just Sun Life. All the carriers use this code word of return to work, which in my view is really, how are we going to cut off your benefits or deny your benefits?